All right. Hi, friends. Welcome to a special We're Just Going to Pop in Your Feed episode of We Gotta Talk. If you're from Pittsburgh, I want you to turn the volume all the way up because I know that our Pittsburgh news fans and friends are some of the most passionate out there. And I'm so honored to host a guest today that will be very familiar to really all of my friends in the greater Pittsburgh area, Southwest PA. Heather Abraham, who is an anchor at CBS Pittsburgh, both for Pittsburgh Today Live and Talk Pittsburgh, two fantastic programs, if I do say so myself. And she's joining me here to talk, oh my gosh, all things news life, Heather, mom life, and just kind of catching up. So thank you so much for coming on.
It's so nice to be with you. And thank you for your help putting me in the corner so that I could have a little bit more light on me.
She sat down and I was like, we're going to need to work on this lighting.
We need
News
more.
lady, I know. Well, listen, you get into this space and I was so used to people doing all of that for me, like worrying about the technical stuff, that it took me a solid like 5 years to learn how to edit a podcast episode. To be honest, I kind of stopped doing it anyway. Yeah, we get spoiled in that world. So how are you doing? How's summer? The kids are all home. You have 3 kids.
Are you not so ready for them to go back to school?
Yeah, my kids go back next week though, so we're good.
Wait.
Yeah, it's early. I know it. We didn't do that in Pittsburgh. I feel like we were back after Labor Day. Is that right?
So my kids go back in 3 weeks, I want to say, but now is like crunch time. And so summer was great, but we had a couple trips, one family and one just our immediate family. And I felt like in July I started school shopping because I knew I wasn't going to be able to keep up with it all, and that August was going to be here before we knew it, and it was. And all the pencils would be sold out like they were last year. So
Wait, pencils? Are we in that kind of a recession or like depression or whatever, like shortage? I'm confused.
I
Pencils?
swear I went school shopping last year, and it was like but this is the case with all the holidays. There are the people who are on top of it. There are people who are shopping right now for Halloween, and then when you're ready, October 1st, everything's gone. So
October 1st, it's like October 29th. And it's Amazon Prime, and it's like what can be shipped overnight. Heather, I genuinely aspire to be one of the people, one of the women in particular, because there's so many like women who are great at this, who are organized, who've got their planner color coded, who remember what day it is on like the week, like teacher appreciation. I mean, I'm like peeling through Publix to get like a couple of tulips because I try is the bottom line. It just doesn't always work.
I
So
know. I wanna be that person too, but I think that I have resigned to the fact that when you work a full-time job and you have multiple children, you will never be top dog. Like, you're just never gonna be you're
the
never
peace
gonna be the
lady.
best.
No, no. I've really started to lean into it. Maybe it's becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy, but I'm known amongst my friend group as being like the not on top of it one. They're like, oh, Sunny again. I mean, I registered my kid for the wrong time slot at Urban Air today. It was a whole thing. The mom was like, where's the confirmation? I was like, oh, he's reserved for 6:30 last night. I mean, it's not pretty, but we get
Well,
it done.
and I bet you probably thought when you got him all registered, you were like, "Ah, look at me, got it
I know.
done," only to find out that
Wait, the worst part is we were on a group text string when this went out last night because that's how on top of it I am. I just like wait and wait. And I responded like an idiot. And I was like, guys, I'm only getting times for what like that weren't the right time. And they're like, Sonny, you're on the wrong date. I mean, it's embarrassing. I feel actually embarrassed, like all joking aside, and I'm working on it, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem to be getting any better. So
it's
here we
hard
are.
when your brain is in a million places and it's just constantly like even right now I'm thinking about what I have to do after this is over. And I want to be present in this space always, wherever I am. But it's always like, okay, what do I have to do next? Can I get everything done in the day's time that we have? And like also create memories with my kids so that they're happy. It's just hard.
It's impossible. Remind everybody, Heather, how old your kids are. You have 2 girls and a boy, right?
Yeah. So in my corner here, you can see them. But this is this is like
How
so this Sunny is our middle, and she just turned 6. Rocco just turned 4 a couple weeks ago, and Lila just last weekend turned 9.
Oh, wow. So they're about my kids' age. You've kind of got like not
2 years.
preteen per se, but kind of getting into that, and then the younger ones.
I don't remember at 9 being hormonal, but I swear Oh god, she's gonna kill
It's
me.
in
This lives
in
forever.
it's in the water, babe. No, we can say it, let's change it. Not hormonal, but just expressive.
Yeah,
It's very, I think, even younger than that. I mean, and I don't know if it's what's scientifically happening, but I think kids these days definitely have an emotional awareness because of what they're exposed to, like, the YouTube, and like there's something that's just feels a little older about them for sure.
right. Have you ever heard this thing that if kid and I think it's been they've proven that it's not true, but if they lose their teeth early, that they go through
Yes.
puberty faster or quicker or earlier? Have you
I've
heard
heard
that?
that, and I don't entirely disagree. My husband says that he went through puberty early. Like, I don't remember what age, but like I was 20 before I had, literally 21 before my boobs fully came in. And so I was a late bloomer. I got my period at 14. I mean, who gets their, I was like, is it coming? I'm in high school. So I was an extremely late bloomer. He was on the early side.
Yeah.
And so I do notice that one of my kids is kind of taking after him. Like, all the teeth were gone. Like, my son's teeth were like in and out, and I'm wondering if that means that he's going to take after his dad. Who knows? I don't know. That was a little personal, but I feel like I had to illustrate the
Well,
point.
that was me the summer of 7th grade. It was like my braces came off, my boobs came in. I went to school in 8th grade, first day, like all the girls hated me. And that
Ugh,
was
aren't girls the worst? Girls are the worst. We're the best and we're the worst.
for the worst. There's
Oh,
this period
Heather.
of time when we are just the worst to each other. You
Yeah, I mean, I'm waiting for that chapter to close, to be honest.
know?
For the most part, women are great, but I think we can inflict on each other a very unique type of pain. And
Right.
it's unfortunate, but it does get better. You're right,
Yeah.
it gets better. Oh gosh, so you were the super cute girl early. Heather, that's not fair because you're hot now. You were hot then. You never had an awkward phase?
Oh my god, 7th grade. I remember shopping at Deb and I bought these like lime green nylon whatever polyester pants that were some shade. I don't know. I don't even know what they look like. And then I bought these white, almost Pee Wee Herman platform shoes. And I thought they were the coolest thing. My mom did not tell me that they weren't. She wanted me to be myself. But I look back on that time like, did
Not
not
right.
know what I was doing yet.
Deb, do you die? Their clothes were literally made of construction paper.
Right?
I would wash them once and there would be holes in all the wrong
I
places.
still remember the smell of cheap jeans from Wet Seal.
Wait, do you remember what was 579? You might be too young for
I remember
579.
579. Yeah.
Contempo.
Contempo.
Oh
Right.
my God, I
Yes.
love Contempo.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I thought I was just the coolest in my like little low rise bell bottom things. Just, it was a simpler time back then. Now they're like, kids are posting their outfits like OOTDs in
I just
middle
listened
school.
to this wonderful podcast, the TED Radio Hour, and they interviewed this woman who designs outfits just for you to put on Instagram. So they're virtual outfits that you can buy.
Oh, they're virtual. Okay, it's sustainable. I'm listening.
Sustainable, right? But the whole premise was that we've always dressed for other people. Like some of it may be for ourselves, but when you get that validation from other people, oh, you look so great. I love that color
Mhm.
on you. So this designer said that she was finding that more and more people were buying an outfit just to wear for social media and then returning it. So she created this whole platform where you can buy virtual outfits, buy them, and then there's nothing to it. You just,
Right. I respect the business model. I do worry about what it reveals about our psychology
right?
collectively.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on this too. So we're both raising two girls. I have a
Yes.
son and two girls too. And I am the biggest proponent of women, fully grown adults, doing what they perceive to be as best for their body, and when that comes to their appearance or their mental health, whatever you think is serving you best, as long as it's not hurting others. And I kind of worry sometimes, Heather, like, I talk a lot about beauty products on the podcast and Botox and these like fun, frivolous things that I have done as an adult after my cerebral cortex, frontal cortex was fully formed. But I worry that my daughters are going to hear that and think at a younger age, not understanding the nuance there is when you're an adult and beyond,
Right.
and think, oh gosh, I have to do like, I have to use this face cream to feel pretty, or I have to buy this outfit, or it's so hard. It really is. There's so much to choose from these days, which is great, but it also really complicates it. When it comes to your girls, do you try to like steer conversations in a certain way, or?
Well, I will tell you, we are in this dreaded phase right now with our 6-year-old where nothing fits and nothing looks good. And she is like, there's one white t shirt and one pair of black shorts that she will wear, and that's it. But my 9-year-old, she said to me the other day, I mean, this was like, it was almost disturbing to me, but she asked me, she didn't want to say the F word. She didn't want to say fat, but she asked me the other day if she was getting bigger. Now, when I say this is disturbing, it's because she is the shortest in her class. She is the smallest in her, like she is, I don't even think 50 pounds yet. She's so tiny. Um, and I wondered, like, where would she even hear that? Because I don't talk like that.
Mhm.
And I just don't know. Um, so
What did
that
you say? Like, did you redirect? Did you I've dealt with a similar situation here, overhearing girls bandy that word about, not my daughter particularly, but it's it's dicey.
it's hard because she's so young. And so I, and this is why parenting is hard because you don't know in that moment. You're not like, Siri, tell me what to say. Like,
Yeah.
I don't, so I'm sitting there with her and I told her that, um, when I weigh myself, if I ever weigh myself, weight means something different when you're much older.
Mhm.
When you're older, weight can mean, like if I gain weight, I know what I weigh every day because I'm not growing anymore. So if I gain more weight, I have to look at, well, what's happening with my body? So it's
Mhm.
all about how weight and health go hand in hand. And so I tried to tell her that, if I weigh myself or you see that, or I worry about what my weight looks like, it's because I'm worried about my health and my heart and my body. And I said, but for you, you are growing every single day. You should be getting bigger. You should be putting on more weight. You should be getting taller. All of those things are naturally going to happen.
Yeah.
What do you say? I don't know.
I think, I don't think there is such thing as a parenting expert per se, but I would say that everything that I've heard people talk about in this realm is always sort of focused on that, correlating these discussions with health. I
Right.
know when I talk to my kids too, I say, like, listen, we're not having sugar because it's 7 o'clock at night and you're going to be up late, and it's not good to have that much sugar before you go to sleep. It's going to make your heart beat fast, and
Yeah.
I try to tie it in because it is ultimately
Right.
about health, but it's so hard. We
It
just
is
didn't
so
have
hard.
any of that. I remember like going in Shop and Save, like we would go to either Shop and Save or Giant Eagle and Kennedy, and I would, run to the magazine aisles. Oh, hi.
This is Rocco.
Hi, Rocco. How are
I'm
you,
not
bud?
the Hulk smash downstairs.
What did he say?
I'm watching Hulk smash downstairs.
That's probably the best TV that's happening in your house right now.
He's scary.
Is he really? What does he look like?
Well, he breaks the car off.
He breaks the car off?
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I think he's got a future in TV, Heather.
I think so. Okay, you go downstairs, watch Hulk smash. Tell me what he does later on, okay? Sorry. The door was
I have
locked.
to apologize. I had a kid run naked through an interview once, so don't feel bad. At least he was clothed.
Okay, so go on. You're
But
shocked.
no, I like the way, I think, am I an expert? No, but I think that's the way to do it, right? To talk about it as it relates to health. And we had fewer signals, right? Ours were the magazines that we would run to in the checkout aisle. Like, I didn't have this in my face. Like, let me see so I think it's about reducing, right, the signals.
Mhm.
And so, not giving them access to unbridled watch YouTube videos or even certain media that shows or depicts that type of like discussion, like girls talking about weight or girls talking about how cute you are. And then, just not, I've always heard every expert say they watch how you treat yourself. So when they see you standing in the mirror looking this and pinching that and that, what you don't say is saying just as much as what you do say. It's what they watch what you do. So, I mean, no one's perfect at it. It's surreal.
It's hard.
It's hard.
It's
It's
hard
hard.
to see those conversations already coming up though. And we've already, I find it very important to talk with the girls. I mean, again, 6 and 9, so they still have a ways to go. Lila, maybe not, but like we've already had the conversations about what's about to happen with their bodies.
Oh, yes. Lots of period talk happening here.
Yes. Yeah. I just think I don't want them to feel embarrassed or ashamed. God, I felt like I spent all of my middle school, teenage, high school years embarrassed and worried. And like, I don't know that we should feel some sort of way about what was happening to our bodies every month, you know?
Absolutely.
Even like the secret discussions, like asking somebody if they have a tampon, like, God,
Mhm.
it's just mortifying almost. And I don't want that for them.
No, it takes years to like undo the stigma that I think is put on us with certain things, but we take a similar approach. I mean, my son knows women get periods and they know that it's related to, like, I mean, we haven't had the talk, but they know that this is all part of a woman's body and this is what happens. And it's not gross and it's not embarrassing and it kind of is what it is. Because I don't want my son to be the guy that's like, ew, period. Like,
I know.
we don't have time for those type of men.
My husband is the guy who will go to the store for me and get whatever I need. I mean,
Yeah.
he's not embarrassed or like, he's like, hey, this is what's happening. I'm, you know.
I mean, for goodness sakes, he probably watched you give birth. I hope there is like any man who can't handle that. We just don't need them in our lives. They need to be just on. Did you see the Barbie movie, by the way?
I want to in the worst way. We have not seen it yet. I know. I was so excited to see it. And then we went on vacation that same day.
It's so good. It's so good. We'll have to like double back and chat when you see it because it's just has a really beautiful like sort of subplot about growing up and from the perspective of both the mother and like the person who's doing it's just really pretty. I was crying like a baby. My kids are embarrassed that I am the one who cries in the theater. So we're at that age and stage. So tell me this. I guess we've known each other. I don't know when you started at KDK, but you've been how many years there?
So this December, I think will be 13 years.
13? You look too young to have worked somewhere for 13 years.
Botox, That's
what I say. It's the Botox.
It was here first, and then it was just like a little bit here.
I love it. How frequent is your Botox schedule? Are you like once every 3 months, 6 months, 9 months?
All times a year. I mean, I don't go very often, but it was because Megan Schiller, who I work with, she had one of the brand new, like one of the really high tech Apple phones that came out, one of the iPhones that came out. And the selfie was supposed to be very intense. And so I went to take a picture and I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's not a filter. That is actual like indented lines in my, and I was like 35 and I was like, I'm not ready for this. Like I think getting older and aging is, a gift, but at the same time, I can kind of be a little bit in control of what that gift looks like. So.
I agree. Let's dole that out over a period of 20 years instead of all at once in 5. Yeah, it's wild how it just sort of all shows up one day too. I mean, I've had moments where I'm like, okay, who are we today in the mirror?
What's happening?
So are you open? I know on Talk Pittsburgh, you guys really tackle like heavier topics sometimes and you're not shying away. Do you guys ever spend any time talking about this kind of stuff and like what it's like to be, forget girls, but like a woman today in this society? And like, what do you guys try to bring to the table as far as like perspectives and discussions that you haven't seen happen anywhere else?
I'm really fortunate. I remember when I started on PTL, it was a little bit of a different format. And I remember having this moment where I realized that everybody who was coming on the show was extremely passionate about whatever it is that brought them there today. So, and it's probably much like your podcast when you have guests on, whatever they're there for, it's their passion. And so I've respected that through this, through the entirety of PTL and the changes there. And then now with Talk Pittsburgh and having our guests on. But we have a lot of discussions in the newsroom about the kinds of things that we think are important. We were just talking, again, this idea came from a TED Radio Hour podcast, but about like foster care and how kinship care should be like the primary go-to and how people are trying to push that. So we're trying to dive into these topics where we can make a change, that there are change makers out there and that they're trying to do good. And to me, that's just it's heartwarming. I feel good walking away every day.
Yeah, I feel like, in the media landscape these days, there's a lot of polarization and it's really easy to get roped into your side of any given issue or story. So I love that there's space now, both online and increasingly so in traditional news for like longer format discussions and things that need a little more fleshing out. And I always try to tell people because, people that have stuck with me through news to this format who are hearing, they finally can hear me have an opinion or say something, but I always come back to the point of like, you have to be an intelligent consumer when it comes to, even if you're watching, you're not producing the product, and make sure that when you're hearing a story, you're like seeking out sort of the opposing opinion too, because, as much as we try to give justice or give time to those topics, working in TV, you know, the time limit's a time limit. So I think people are getting more savvy to that, and they want more real talk about things. They don't want to hear the company line anymore, or like, you know, the official statement. People are eager to like hear more these days.
They are. Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. You know, one of the reasons why I wanted to step away from news is because it was growing increasingly hard for me to wake up every morning and to hear bad news. And I know we hear that from our viewers too. And there was certainly good news too. And, you know, we had this wonderful camaraderie on the morning team. But for me, I needed to be part of something where we could have real talks, that we could talk about the good change that's happening, and these people who are truly passionate about what they're doing. I don't know. It was refreshing. It was really refreshing.
Did you find that your reaction to the stories you were covering changed after having kids? Because I noticed that line of delineation for me.
Yes. 100%.
Did you ever like cry on set?
Yes. Yeah. There were a couple times. The one time I didn't see it coming, and I was there were two times actually. One was the day after the Tree of Life, the synagogue shooting. And if people from Pittsburgh are watching, they know that the death penalty verdict just came down yesterday. But the day that happened, that morning, I had taken a pregnancy test and found out that morning that I was pregnant with Rocco, who you just saw, who's 4. And that's how long this has gone on for, by the way. It's been 4 years. Well, plus since I was just finding out I was pregnant. But, you know, I am hormonal, and all of these things are happening in my body. And that next day we went on PTL, and my producer, Jill Neely, who you remember.
Love her.
I love her. She wanted us to do something to really pay respect to the victims and what had taken place. And so we held up a newspaper, and it had all the names of the victims. And as I started to read them, I couldn't control it. I just started to sob. I mean, I was like, I don't know. I think there was this internal thing that was happening, that I was in the process in that moment of creating life, and life had just been taken away and changed for so many people in the last 24 hours. There was this real like internal struggle for me. And then again, when we had the Uvalde school shooting, I mean, you know, I was crying watching the coverage of it that entire evening. And then the next day we had to go in, and we wanted again to be sensitive to it. And I was shaken to my core, like most parents, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't want to use this phrase because it sounds trite, but it like hits a little different, you know, and that's not to say that not having had children, or previous to my having kids, I didn't have that compassion. I certainly did. And it just, it's just, I remember having to rip my earpiece out, and I was like, who am I becoming? Like, I couldn't even be on set for a couple minutes. It's just, there really is something to, it's so funny though, because you talk about having kids, and you hear the same stuff all the time. Your life changes. You never look at life the same. It's a miracle. And you're like, before you have kids, and then you have kids. And even if you're not a particularly religious or spiritual person, it's just hard to deny the internal energetic shift that happens after. I mean, they literally change things. And I know studies have come out since then, sort of proving the existence of these little like microscopic, for lack of a better term, fibers or cells that are left behind. So what we were feeling all along wasn't crazy. You do change on a cellular level, but it's just wild. It's crazy.
My brother-in-law told us before we had kids, and there was a point, I think, like many parents even, where we were both like, we're not sure. We don't know if we want to have kids yet. And he said, you don't understand, the greatest love you will ever know is your children. Like, it changes everything. You think you know what love is, you have no idea. And again, like, if that's all you know, if you don't have kids, sure, you know what love is on your own level, but you have no idea. You have no idea what it's like until you have kids.
Yeah, it's truly like they say, your heart walking around outside your body. I mean, like, I watch my kids walk away sometimes, and I'm like, let me bubble wrap you, let me hold you. Like, it is so hard to like send them out into the world. Just knowing, and like we were talking about kids getting older too, and knowing all of the things that are out there that can hurt them emotionally or physically. what I'm saying is I'm an anxious wreck since I mean, like, I was never anxious before. And like this light flip
Oh yeah.
switch flipped.
That happened to me in the pandemic. I felt, I mean, I went to the doctor because I thought I was having a heart attack. And of course, as it turns out, it was a panic attack.
Oh,
Um,
I had one of those moments working in news too, for the record.
right? I don't know. I came home from work. I thought it was okay. And then it was like all of a sudden I'm having like, oh my God, I like can't breathe. And again, uncontrollable. You have no idea what's happening to your body. And I was like, I might be having a heart attack. Who knows?
Mhm.
And yeah, just panic, just a panic attack for every day.
I know we talked about this before, and like not to like veer too hard into this because I'm not an expert in any of this, but like I was not aware. Like I think I told you this before, having worked the morning shift like you and then switching over to the night shift, which was like 2 p.m. to midnight kind of deal. I didn't realize the physical implications of shift work and how like my labs that came back, my doctor was like, this is not normal for a 35-year-old woman. Have you like did you work like shift work? Like, were you a graveyard? And I was like, I wasn't even like the one doing the overnight, but still, she was like, it really messed with my health for a long time. And I hate to say that because people are like, oh, it is a position of privilege to work in TV and I'm so grateful for that. But like, I think people look at that job and they're like, how can it be better? I mean, there's a lot of physical exhaustion and emotional exhaustion tied up in that job. And on top of it, you have to show up every day and you got to look good and you have to get your composure. If, like you said, a story is emotional, it's not an easy thing all the time. And we're not saving lives. I always would say it's not that serious, but it's not like fluff either.
Well, and there is this kind of like, I don't know what the correct terminology would be, but it's almost like this secondary PTSD. I'm not there, but I have to report on trauma constantly. So while I'm not witnessing it or seeing it, I have to retell the story over and over and over again. So there is this like, I don't know, maybe some people can separate themselves, but I am not one of those people. So I started to carry that around with me. And then, you have the excessive deadlines, you have, you can't be wrong. And of course, like that has really, really changed. I mean, not that we were ever necessarily wrong, but there's this really heightened awareness about, oh, you said something that wasn't quite right. That's not right. And I'm going to call you out I'm going to call you out on it on Facebook. I'm going to email your boss. Everybody's going to know that you were wrong. So the stress of like always being right and being perfect, it's just really hard.
Listen, girl, I'm here to just give you some real talk. Yes, you have PTSD. It takes a while to unwind the people pleasing and then an aversion to sharing your opinion. Like this is real. And I think when you do hit the brakes on getting out of that industry, and this isn't like, I'm not trying to tell you to quit. You have your bosses are like, shut up, Sunny. I'm just saying, I noticed similar things. And when I put the brakes on the official closing of the chapter as it regards news, I did really have to work through stuff. And I've been very open and candid about talking with my therapist about when the issues that came as a result of verbalizing people's worst case scenarios every day. Normal people walk down the street and don't think a branch is going to fall or a lightning strike is going to hit their kid or a car is going to speed across. But I know that it happens because I went into work every day and I talked about it happening. Yes. And so when you verbalize those worst case scenarios, I do think your brain starts to beat that neural pathway, and it takes a lot of intent to kind of pull back and say, whew, I gotta stop, because it becomes part of you, that worry.
Right. It does. I agree. We were just talking about this. We had somebody on our show yesterday or 2 days ago, talking about our obsession with true crime podcasts and shows.
And, I hate them because I worked in news. I'm like the only person that doesn't like them. I'm like, no, thanks. Been there, done that.
I'm good. I know the outcome. I'm okay. But, we started to talk about how, it's okay if you're taking it in as an entertainment form, but it could really start to spiral if you start to shift your view on like, oh, these things could be happening. This could be, this is going to happen to me or that's going to happen to me. And much like news, when you hear all of the bad that can happen, you do start to think like, oh my gosh, we could get into a car accident. We could get into a car accident driving down the street or going to the airport or going to the grocery store. It's just,
What do you do to unwind that? Do you have any specific wellness or relaxation things that you do? And do you do anything with your family too? What does that look like for you?
Well, I mean, for me, it really was taking that break from news. I mean, with Pittsburgh Today Live, we have an hour of entertainment, and for Talk Pittsburgh, it's more conversation. So while we can talk about more serious things, we can have enlightened conversations about them.
Mhm.
And so it's not just this 30-second or 1 minute piece of information that's really heavy. It's, a 5 minute conversation where we can dive into the problem and solutions. So for me, I think it was recognizing that I personally needed to step away,
Mhm.
that it wasn't the best fit for me anymore. And but now, even that being said, I mean, I still consume a lot of news. I enjoy watching it and learning what's happening in my community and my city and the country. Um, so I don't know. I don't know that I do anything in particular, but I think me just walking away a little bit,
Yeah.
stepping back, helped tremendously.
Yeah. What does a normal day look like for you, Heather? I think people are curious, like a day in the life, you know?
It's changed dramatically in the last year. I mean, I used to wake up at 2:30 in the morning. Now I wake up at like 5:30-ish so that I can shower and have a cup of coffee in peace and quiet and darkness.
Mhm.
And do my Wordle. I need to do the Wordle in the morning. I don't-
I love that.
And then I get to work around 8 o'clock. We have PTL right at 9. And honestly, like as soon as I walk in the door, it's go time. There's no downtime for me. It's, get ready for PTL, come out of PTL meetings, start working on Talk Pittsburgh. And then the end of my day is much the same because we start Talk Pittsburgh at 3 and it's over at 4 and I'm out the door.
Yeah.
So it's very all consuming through that entire day. And then I come home and it's dinner time. And, we're getting the kids ready for dinner. And when school starts, it's going to be a whole new shift in sports and activities and homework and all of that.
Do you believe in like a work-life balance? I know that word can feel controversial for some people, or is it like I said in the beginning, are you the type of person who's really driven toward like organization and scheduling, or you go with the flow? Like how do you fit the family stuff in?
I don't know. I mean, there is no work-life balance. I mean, me even telling
Yeah.
you about how my day goes, where in the course of my day, where do I find time for me? Where do I
Yeah.
find time to exercise? A neighbor and I have recently started getting up some mornings at like 4:45 so that we could go for a walk. But then I'm taking away crucial sleep that I need. So it's like, do you take away this thing that that your body also needs to repair and restore so that you can get some exercise so that your heart is healthy?
It's a trade up, girl. I'm picking the sleep. So don't ask me. I used to come home from the morning shift. I would scrub the face,
Yeah.
put on my Ulta. I've been wearing Ulta robes for decades now. The fleece, free with purchase robe at Ulta. Mark my word, it is the best thing. And I would scrub the face, put the Ulta robe on, and I'd be like by 1:30.
Mhm.
And then I would try not to. And I was in my 20s. Like I was a baby and it still wrecked me. So I mean, I feel like I'm choosing sleep, but
Do you still feel like you need an afternoon nap? Because I'm still like, my body is still kind of in that rhythm where for some reason, and I know some people still have that like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock drop feeling where you need that nap, but it hits me hard. And I feel like it's from all those years on the early shift.
yeah, I don't deal with that, but I mean, I am very deliberate about monitoring my hormone levels, monitoring my blood labs. Like, I am a freak about voluntary testing because, and I think every woman knows this too, when one minor thing is off, whether
Oh,
it's your iron levels or whatever it is,
yeah.
I feel it. And so Andrew, my husband, laughs at me all the time. He's like, what other voluntary test are you going to sign up for today? It's like, I mean, it's gut panels, it's blood labs. I do thermography. I stand in front of this thing and they put this thing and it shows hot spots in your body. I mean, everything. So
Yeah.
I think if anything, the blessing of having dealt with some health side effects from that is like, I'm ultra aware now. And I think that, yeah, I think, being aware of how your body feels and listening to it is super important. Okay, we need to talk beauty products. This is a huge passion of mine. You do your own makeup every day for TV.
I do.
People think that there's makeup artists, but there's not usually.
There are not.
Like, unfortunately, this is a hint. CVS Pittsburgh, wink, wink. We need assistance for your beautiful talent. I can't believe that there's still no assistance in that way. But anyhow, I guess the good news is you learn how to do your makeup and hair really well.
I do.
So what do you like live by for TV?
So I you're gonna kill me because I'm sure you have a beautiful skincare routine. I mean, you have beautiful skin, and I'm sure you hear great stories. I wash my face with Dove soap. I told a makeup
That's-
artist this once, and she was like, "What?"
But you have
No.
really good skin. It's working for you.
So I wash my face with Dove, and I use CeraVe to moisturize. That's it.
Wait,
all I do.
Heather, do we have a toner in there? Do we have like a little vitamin C?
no
Nothing.
toner. I've been told that I need to up my game, that I have no toner, no like primer,
Serum.
no, there's no levels. It's wash, moisturize, makeup.
So do you use SPF? Are we on an SPF routine?
yes. Yes. So both my moisturizer and my foundation, I use the It foundation, CC cream. So I use that. Both of them have SPF in them. And then I like a NARS bronzer. It's my fave.
Laguna?
I think so. Yeah. Is that
Okay.
the one that doesn't have the shine? It's the matte.
Yes, I believe that's the matte. I'll Google it while we chat. Yeah.
I'm a lipstick fanatic.
Ooh, tell me more.
I probably have 50 different kinds of lipsticks, all within the same shade of
Oh my
pink.
So you're a bright pink girl.
I like pinks. I love, and I've yet to find it again. There was one MAC color that doesn't exist anymore. It was like a beautiful, like,
Was
pink.
it Viva Golden 5?
I don't remember what it was. I don't even remember the name of it, but it was this pinkish, taupish, brownish color that was just perfect. The closest I have found, there was a woman who opened up a shop in Pittsburgh. It's called the Lipstick Lab. You should look it up. But she
Okay.
makes custom lipsticks.
Oh, I have to go next time I'm home. I'm looking it up right now.
Amazing. She's incredible. So she mixed up. I didn't tell her anything. She was like, based on your skin color, blah, blah, blah. She mixes it up. She whips it to me. And she gives it to me in like 5 minutes. And I was like, oh, it's my color.
That's insane. So what tones does it still lean pink or?
It leads pink, but there's just like this little undertone of like a brown or like a I don't know, like a mauve color. It's just tones it down just a little bit.
Okay. Okay, what mascara? Because this is a big thing too.
Oh, I always say it wrong. Is it Stila?
Stila.
Stila. Love it. That's my go-to. It works. It is. I don't use any kind of like lash extension drops or anything like that. I've tried putting on fake lashes. I feel like the glue just gets stuck in all of your lashes and it's just gross and they wind up falling out. So that is my go-to. Stila. It's great, full coverage. The brush is nice. It's soft.
I love it. You're a tactile person. Okay, what about concealer? This is a big thing too. I feel like to like brighten up the face. You may not have dark circles, but like
God.
we need a little contouring on this face. So what do you rely on for that?
I'm a Shape Tape girl.
Yeah. It's hard to like.
It's hard to break away. I'd love to try something new, but I feel like it does it the trick. So
do you like in order to be able to keep up with, if you want to try a new product or a new look, like do you watch tutorials or do you just like kind of stick with your routine? And because I know there are people like me in TV who inevitably like got into like learning more because I was like, well, no one else is doing it. Or do you just kind of like to stick with what you know and keep it there?
Well, there are some things that I do that are just what I do. There's this huge trend. Maybe you can pull it off where you put the blush like here.
Yeah, you like
it's like, yeah, it's like close to your eye, but it's like right here. I can't do it. It looks like I look like a clown and I just didn't rub it in good enough. I know for contouring and like all that stuff that I should be doing, but I don't. But I do watch makeup tutorials. I love that's the beauty of TikTok and Instagram and all of these things is that you can find tips and hacks and tricks. I'm now in this age of finding makeup since I'm going to be 40 next year, the 40 crowd. I feel like
we got a whole series coming up this October, dedicated topics only for over 40: hormones, makeup and skincare, health, like it's all, yeah.
I love that because I do think that we see a lot of these people creating content. It's their space for makeup tips for like 20 somethings. Your skin is flawless. It's flawless.
Don't wear makeup. That's my tip. If I could go back and appreciate the skin that I had. And then you hit 40. And the ironic part is makeup starts looking worse. And so you can't, I don't want to depress you. I don't want to get into the details, but like creamy finishes become your friend. I can't even wear like Shape Tape. It's a real tricky thing now because
Well,
my
yeah,
face all of a sudden.
settle into the cracks,
Yes,
right? I know.
yes. And it screams makeup, makeup. Like I used to be able to wear that and not, it's just a whole thing. But it's very freeing too. So.
Baking.
Oh my God.
It looked like I had like yeast under my eye. I did not.
They're like, Heather, what's growing on your under eye?
What is happening on my face? I tried and I was like, all the kids are doing it. I got to try it. No.
Oh, it's so fun. Okay, really quickly, you talked about social media, and anyone who follows you knows that you have so much fun on Instagram and TikTok, posting all kinds of fun things. You're often with your partner in crime, Mary Hours, who's the meteorologist there.
Yeah.
Tell me about like how you've come to embrace social media. I know when I was in TV, it was like a real dice. It was like a real what's the word I'm looking for? Double-edged sword.
Yeah.
But these days it's so much more embraced and it's good to do. So what's your thought on it? And like, how much fun are you guys having? Because it looks like you are.
Isn't it funny? I mean, I don't use it as a platform anymore for work almost. I mean, it's like, hey, I'm going to do something fun and wacky. By the way, here's where you can watch me.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
When we first started out using social media, it was very much like, oh, goodness gracious.
What did he just do? Just don't eat it.
Don't, please. Okay. We started out just using it as a platform to post links, you know,
Right.
like, oh, go to our website and go here.
Mhm.
We've found that people want the behind the scenes. They want to see the fun and the interesting things about you. And that's going to encourage them more to watch and to go to the websites. And, you know, I mean, like with anything, if you like the person, you're going to want to follow them. And I don't know. So we do have a lot of fun. Social media is still very weird. I don't think that you use or post any pictures of your kids very often. And
Not anymore. I did. It's a whole thing, but you know, again, something else news really ruined for me because I had some really weird experiences. So,
well, and that's the thing. So that part of it is hard for me, is that there's nothing more that I want to do than share my kids with the world. And yet the more I do it, I feel this very icky feeling anymore. Like, what's going to happen? Is AI going to, did you see that video where AI transformed the little girl's face?
With one image, one static image is all it took, and one clip of her voice, and they were able to replicate. It's crazy.
Scary. It's scary. So we don't know what's going to happen. This is Lila.
Hi, Lila. You
She just
beautiful
had her
girl.
teeth today.
So brave. How do they feel? Oh my.
Weird.
You have 2 windows in your mouth now.
I can put a straw right through them.
So as you see, you asked about like how I wind down and me time. It's not existent.
Let's be honest. They're knocking on bathroom doors. They're knocking on, I mean, there's no, I know. I love it. I know it's a lot. But yeah, I think it's interesting. Like what you said about the kids, I think it's a journey for everyone. And I think you do what you do and you learn as you go. And if you aren't comfortable anymore, then you change it. And if you are, you do it. I mean, it's a no rules kind of situation. That's for sure.
I know. I'm getting to this point though, where like, I might start putting the emojis over their face.
Oh gosh. I know. She's like, there's my other 2. Okay, we're gonna make this quick. I know that you have to go. You have lots of things happening. Tell me quickly before we go, fun things that are coming up personally, professionally, obviously, if we're local, how to follow and watch, all that good stuff.
Well, personally, I'm very excited that my kids are going back to school in 3 weeks.
Breaking news.
You're so rude. Here.
That's funny.
Okay. But professionally, we have a lot more coming ahead for Talk Pittsburgh. We, starting a new show is really hard. And so getting it off the ground, we know that there are big changes that are coming and we're going to continue working on that brand. So I'm excited for the work that we're going to put into that and changes that will come in the future. And PTL, we are getting ready to do our big Gateway Clipper cruise again this year, which is so much fun. We raised money for the Turkey Fund. If you remember the Turkey Fund.
I remember the Turkey Fund, of course.
So
And you went to our school.
And we went to your school. Last year, we started a kickoff cruise, and it was so much fun. We sold out in like a day.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, so we're excited to do that again this year, and hopefully we'll get a bigger ship.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, have fun. I know like taking so much of your time, and I know the feeling when kids are like invading and you're like, woo, like full body sweat. Okay, you're the best, Heather. I would love to have you back on. When you see the Barbie movie, text me and we'll get you
Okay,
back on.
we'll talk again. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Bye, Sunny.
Bye.
Who's Sunny?